Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please recognize Representative Pittman for a point of personal privilege.
Representative Pittman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to say to the members, and I won't be before you long, one of the things people tell you as a politician is that you talk too much. So one of the things I want to share with you that I've employed my life in service, and it's been dedicated to talking. I used to get in trouble in school for talking too much. We finished our homework early, finished in-class assignments early, and then we started talking. But I want to say thank you for this opportunity. It's such a great honor to be here before you. I never thought I'd have the opportunity to be able to do this, but I want to share with you a little bit about myself. My roots run deep in Oklahoma, even though I was born in Miami, Florida. Now, I can't tell you why a 9-month pregnant lady would want to go to the beach, but I showed up. And so my nickname is Sunshine, but I've lived in Oklahoma for over 40 years. And so throughout my life, I've been very proud to be a 5th-generation Oklahoman. I am the granddaughter of the late Jazz Hall of Famer, Mr. C.E. Pittman, who is in the Jazz Hall of Fame in Tulsa. I'm the great-granddaughter of a Tulsa race riot survivor, Mr. Abner Burnett, who had a grocery store in Tulsa, and who has grocery stores across Oklahoma, and even down in Bricktown, he had a grocery store. In Taft, Oklahoma, in Langston, in Boley, and in Oklahoma City. And so I grew up in Spencer with my grandparents. My grandmother is Native American, and so I'm very proud to have a dual citizenship in Oklahoma as a member of the Seminole Nation. So before moving to Oklahoma City, I had the value of earning the experience through hard work. I grew up in a very rough environment, and I made it. So it's with our words that we learn to survive. It was with the passion that my grandmother taught us some Native American things to honor and respect our Creator, to put culture and Christ first, and then that's how you develop character. So I never had a problem with that. But just like some of my friends here in the legislature, and I'll begin to share some things with you, but I worked for 7 years in the state Senate, the Oklahoma State Senate, and I followed in the footsteps of a great orator, Mr. Representative Opio Toure. And so as a legislative staffer on the state Senate, I understood the ins and outs. I learned the bill process, learned the legislative process, but I came in as a media staffer. I wrote press releases for the senators, and they would come in 15 minutes before a speech and say, hey, I need a speech. Okay, what is it about? It's about senior citizens. Okay, well, who are you talking to? I'm talking to senior citizens. Well, I wrote the speech the way I wanted to because you didn't want to talk to old people about growing old. You wanted to talk to them about their service and what services the state could provide for them. I served on the Health and Human Services staff. I served on education. I had a little bit of judicial experience, and I learned to write the way they wanted to speak. So I had to learn what their passions were, learn what they were committed to. And so I became no stranger to service because I never knew why legislators were never on time. They learned to be flexible. They learned to go with the flow. Whatever incident occurred, they yielded to it. And so I'm not a stranger to the needs of my community. I became a community activist 25 years ago. I worked on my first campaign for Willa Johnson when she was running for city council. And now she's our county commissioner. I'm very proud of that. And so I'm very thankful to have firsthand knowledge of the power of progress and how people can get involved and change the lives of other people. And so I'm a part of that proven leadership from my community. My pastors, my family, my friends, and all of the people who inspired me to run for office. Because a lot of times you don't get to choose your role in life. Sometimes you ask too many questions and the rest of the line backs up and it looks like you took 2 steps forward, but you really didn't. But you're not ashamed to represent the voices of the people who are the least and most vulnerable among you. And so children and senior citizens became a passion for me. My grandparents are still living. My grandmother is 90 years old, and the Tulsa race riot survivor, my grandmother is 95 years old. She was 2 when she lived in Tulsa, and she lives right down the street in my district. And so with the opportunity to leave this body and take service to a higher level, if I have the blessings of our Savior, then I will take that service to the Senate. That is my goal. And so as a mother, I've learned to take my daughter with me. She's here. She's like Anastasia Jr. But I mean, it's hard to walk around with a mini-me and then watch them grow up. And so I thank you for allowing her to roam the halls, roam the office, sit in our seats. You've helped her through travel, through graduation. You've watched her grow up. Even my personal friends who've prayed for her and talked to her separately, even FCA and Todd Thompson has blessed a lot of kids in our community, so I'm thankful. Representative Mark McCullough and Earl Sears just kind of kept up with her and said, hey, what's she doing now? And so at 12 years old, I told her, I said, listen, we're going to run for office. And she said, what does that mean? I said, well, I have to resign because I'm a full-time employee here at the Oklahoma State Senate. So she said, well, what does that mean for me? I said, well, you have braces on your teeth and I'm not going to be able to pay for them. So we went from eating salmon to sandwiches. She learned how to knock doors. She learned how to make phone calls. She learned how to put out signs and work very hard. And then she learned how to use a telephone and call other relatives and say, hey, I'm just a kid. Can I get a pass to Frontier City and Six Flags? So she left for a weekend and said, I don't think kids should be campaigning. But then when she came back, she became a coordinator and an organizer and began to get friends to come and just walk. Just come and represent their voices. They got involved. And I want to personally say thank you. I see Michael Denton, Miss Trina's nephew. He's here. Trust me, when he came to visit his aunt during the summer, he didn't know what was in store for him. So he began to carry water bottles and walk. He was like, how many flyers do we have? Every time we pass all these out, they keep coming and coming. And I said, we have to touch every door because I had to face 6 opponents to get here to be with you. And we never stopped. We weren't strangers to hard work. We worked on campaigns before that. I went to the University of Oklahoma and I became a delegate on black student government. So I began to travel for the University of Oklahoma, and I know that it's some pokes in here, so I don't take that lightly. But I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I've been afforded because when I was born, I wasn't supposed to make it, and that's how I got my name, Anastasia. And I've had some sacrifices and some tragedies along the way where the devil has put a hit out on my life, and I'm still standing. I'm still here before you. And so through those adversities and through those tragedies, it gave me the capacity and the knowledge to know what to do when you got here and you began to look at leadership and life in a different way. And you said, Lord, if you let me live through this, I promise I'll dedicate my life to you. I promise I'll serve you for the rest of my life. And I've made that service a part of me, a part of my family, and now I even have an addition to the family. So I'm thankful that my husband is here, Captain Kenneth Petrie, who says, I'm not afraid of you, Representative. I know you're no stranger to hard work. He said, but I've been in combat, and I survived, so I'm ready for you. So the grenades that I throw at him, he knows how to duck. He knows how to throw them back. He knows how to survive. I didn't know eating bugs and leaves and trees would prepare me for a gentleman that no matter what I cooked, it was good. So I'm thankful for that. But currently, I'm a radio talk show host. I've been a former educator for the past 10 years, and now I teach relapse prevention, teach representative democracy, and I'm still serving. I was a former Sunday school teacher. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness, I got a scholar over here. And my leader, Scott Emmon, is a phenomenal scholar. But give me a Bible and I'll beat him every day. I'll get him. I'll whip him good. But my father's side of the family was Catholic, and my mother's side of the family was Church of Christ. I've never had more restrictions in my life. Not able to dance or sing in public, but I learned to be happy anyway. Yes, and my dance partner, Doug Cox, is here, so I'm thankful. I've had some seatmates, Scott Bighorse. When I came in, we came in with the 10 to win pack, and I was the only female to come in, and so I made friends with Sky McNeil very quickly, because she was the only female that came in with me in 2006. I had some mentors back in the back, John Kerry and Lucky Lammons, who taught me how certain votes won't hurt you in your district because they can't beat you from your seat. And so I was challenged every year. I've always had an opponent, never, I think one time I had a free ride, and it was a great time because it was a tsunami coming through Oklahoma, and I wasn't on the ballot that year, so I'm very thankful. But my other seatmate, Rebecca Hamilton, and my office mate, I did a video, had an opportunity to do a video on her behalf, and share some personal stories about her. You all know that she rotates pencils, and they have to be all the same size and have to be sharpened the same way. And I found out that one of my other colleagues had glued those pencils together, and it was not a good effect. So I quickly got acclimated not to touch those pencils, and I never did. I sharpened them and made sure she had some more, because if they were dull or if you sharpened them twice, they were uneven, and she couldn't handle that. She leaned over to me one day and said, "Stacia, I know what you're going through when you struggle with your hair. I have bad hair days too." So when I looked over and I saw a white lady with an afro, I was really comfortable. I said, this is where I belong. And so I very quickly learned from Representative Joe Dorman, as we were both legislative staffers before we came in. So I came in with some institutional knowledge, and I wasn't a new freshman, so to speak. I was just a fresh face on the floor, so I enjoyed that. And so I tried to be a part of my culture, and as I became a member of every caucus that we've ever had. I don't know if you remember, a lady came for St. Patrick's Day, and she had on a green hat. She was handing out medals, and she said, "Anybody that's a member of the Irish caucus, come on up." I made my way from the back, and people looked at me, and as I got closer, they said, "And members who want to be members of the Irish caucus." And I told them, I said, "Well, my grandmother's still living. She has red hair and green eyes and freckles all over, and she's about 4'5", and she's very fiery. She's a firecracker." And they said, "Well, come on." And I got my little medal. I was so proud. Ken Luttrell, Representative Ken Luttrell said, "Well, the only caucus you're not a member of is the rural caucus." And I said, "Well, where's my buckle?" And he got me one. So from Montana Jewelers, he got me a belt buckle that said Representative Anastasia Pittman. He gave me a blue star in the middle of that because that's where my district was located. So I'm still waiting on my cowboy hat, and I'll be back to collect it. But as a member of the Black Caucus, the Democratic Caucus, the Irish Caucus, and the Rural Caucus, I haven't figured out if there was a women's caucus. We had a couple of meetings. We had a prayer caucus. So it was just so many caucuses that you could be a part of that I just found my niche. And then we started having devotion, and I started saying, "Oh man, that's another thing that I'm so proud to be a part of." And so I'm very thankful for the opportunity to do that. But I want to say to our LAs, I want to say thank you to my LA, Miss Trina, and to Gracie Munson, Representative Shelton's LA, to Deborah Smith, Representative Ben Shear, and Emily Virgin's LA. Some of the LAs, you know, they think they get a break on Fridays when you leave on Thursday afternoon, but you don't. And I represent Oklahoma City, so I come to work on Fridays. You should hear them whispering as I come down the hall. "What is she doing? Why is she here?" And it's because my constituents have a secret that you may not know. They have my address. And if I'm not here in my office, they'll come to my house. So I come to work on purpose. So they have to meet me here. But I'm very thankful to see all of my friends. I have just been honored with the ability to serve, and I just want to say thank you. I really have appreciated my time here, and it's unfortunate that someone has to leave their post here to make sure some work gets done on the Senate side. So I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to join a few of my colleagues who's also willing to do that. But service and sacrifice is what I do. It's who I am. And so when you see me and you see my name on a piece of paper, sometimes you see me at my desk signing a whole bunch of things, and that's because service is my signature. That's what I do. Because I made that commitment to Christ a long time ago. If you let me live and you make me worthy enough, I'll represent you in the right way. And I'll make sure that when somebody comes to my door, I don't turn them away. So I serve people that are not in my district, and I serve them because it's what I was born to do. I want to say thank you to Ms. Teresa Hill, my campaign manager. I met her working on a local newspaper. The Ebony Tribune was headed up. It was a African-American female who owned a newspaper in Oklahoma City, the only African-American female. So as a student at the University of Oklahoma, I was a journalism major, and I interviewed this lady. Why are you hosting a newspaper? And she told me. I wrote a paper on it. I got a prize for it at school, but I became a prolific writer because I became acclimated to journalistic writing. And I met Teresa working on that local newspaper. And it's unfortunate that my friend, Leisha Swain, died very early because she was going to be the next senator of District 48. I had the opportunity to look my mentors in the eye, Senator Enoch Kelly Haney. He was a representative before that, and he came to the Senate. I had an opportunity to write for my own chief, one of the greatest feelings in the world. Had an opportunity to work for Senator Angela Munson. She was my sponsor when I came in to write. Had an opportunity to write for other senators who are gone on, like Ben Robinson and Paul Maggie. But I remember them. They gave me an opportunity to speak for them, to speak on their behalf. So when the opportunity came for me to run for office and have 6 opponents and prevail, I knew it was my time to serve, and I was going to do it with honor and dignity. So I thank you for the friendships that I've made. I thank you for tolerating me. And as I learned to serve my constituents more, and once I received a 92% voter acceptance rate, I had the highest rate of an elected official during that year. I knew that being absent from the floor and present in my office meant more to me, because I quickly realized that none of you could vote for me. So I started serving them more. But I want to say thank you to Pam Peterson, our floor leader, who has shown me great honor and respect and given me the opportunity to do the things that I like to do best, and that's acknowledge people in our community and be able to be present with you. So I say thank you to my leader, Scott Inman, the leader before him, Leader Morgan. I've been appointed to several committees, not only by my leader, but by our former speaker, T.W. Shannon, on a local and national level. And I'm very proud of that, being able to serve under a chairmanship that's predominantly Republican leadership, to be a vice chair of a committee that has allowed me to grow and learn and more passionately serve. I say thank you. I appreciate you. So without further ado, I will say to you, I will see you again on the other side. I'm working very hard, so I need your prayers. I thank you for your friendship. God bless you. And let's get some work done so we can get out on Friday. Thank you.